4. Roll call, please.
Mr. Booth? Mrs. Marks?
Here.
Mrs. Bethay?
Here.
Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Mr. Zinnerman?
Here.
Mrs. Haverford? Mr. Bosch?
Here.
Vice President.
We need a secretary for the evening.
I nominate
Ron is the
Mr.
guy
Jim
that has
Smith,
it on his.
fabulous guy
It
and
is
well
written-
equipped to
It is
do
written
it.
all over Ron's face.
I hear that there's a motion to appoint Ron as the secretary tonight.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Democracy at its
Opposed?
worst.
Motion carries. We have
Peter off.
approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of the Board of Education for March 11th, 2024. Are there any additions or corrections to that set of minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have future dates.
Yeah, just a few dates to talk about. First, a week from this Wednesday, April 17th, is an early release day for staff to work in the afternoon. We also have upcoming music events, choir, orchestra, and band. Those are in the next several weeks. Please check the calendar for those specific dates. And then also on April 30th, we have a step-up date for our second graders who are matriculating over to Churchill, and that's at 6 p.m.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any presentations tonight?
We do not.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who has come to address the board on any items that are not on tonight's agenda? All right, and do we have a, I'm sorry. If it's an item that is not on tonight's agenda, you may address the board. Come on up, there's a microphone, and if you could please introduce yourself, and you have, our policy is 3 minutes.
My name is Yolanda Collins, and I was a second grade teacher at Willow, which is known for its lack of a diverse staff. I am grateful for the 3 years that I have had with students, parents, and staff. My classroom was my happy place where I could connect learning to the outside world and make it fun for whomever crossed the threshold. I have challenged students, parents, and myself to think outside the box, be open-minded, and unwaveringly true to oneself. I have listened to my students when they have problems and listened to both sides along with witnesses. Unfortunately, what we teach our children does not mirror what we do as adults. Although my second and third year was overshadowed with bullying and harassment from some coworkers, others encouraged me not to dim my light or let anyone take my joy away. Dr. McAllister often encouraged me to continue to challenge my students because it's making a difference, and I did just that. During my second year at Willow, I notified my principal, the superintendent, and the board of several instances of the hostile environment I was experiencing and was met with silence, and the ultimate solution was to stay away from one another, essentially to ignore it. Instead of addressing the issues, it continued to fester, and others went to administration with what they were witnessing inside and outside Willow towards my coworkers and I. Nothing was ever done. My third year began with a racist note at my door, which was also brought to the attention of the administration, but nothing was done. In addition to my treatment, I asked the board for clarification of the teacher evaluation tool and was told that I was just upset I didn't get a perfect rating, without ever providing clarification that is important for all teachers in this district to have. Shame on you, all, for your duplicitous actions. It is abhorrent that 2 out of the 6 African American teachers at Willow are not being retained, and another resigned mid-year due to the hostile environment. All in one school year, after being advocates of students, even when it went against the grain of following the Willow way. It is truly unfortunate that students will continue to see African Americans in other educational positions instead of teachers who play an active role in planning and teaching the curriculum. It is even more unfortunate that as the African American demographics of homeless students rise, they will continue In my classroom, Mrs. Robinson and I have a colorful bunch of hymns, hers, and they. And we encourage them to be confident in who they are and be different because this world would be so boring if we were all the same. Even though this is goodbye for me, my hope is that the Willow Way changes to embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion so that students can be served and can learn. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who has come to address the board on any items that are not on tonight's agenda?
My name is Omida Heyman. Ladies and gentlemen of the school board, I stand before you today, not only as a teacher, but also as a parent and community member, deeply concerned about the culture and environment at Willow School. As a Black educator, I have dedicated my career to advocating for students, fostering an environment of growth and excellence, and holding high expectations for every child who walks through my door. However, my journey at Willow has been marred by more than just challenges. I have faced active undermining, targeted harassment, and discrimination from certain team members and leadership simply for being vocal and passionate about our students' well-being and my specific experiences. I have witnessed firsthand the disparities in support and treatment between myself and my white colleagues. I have also witnessed this with the student behaviors. My 6-year-old son was called a nigger by another student with no consequences for the other student or meeting with the parents. My ratings this year was sabotaged by leadership based on personal feelings and hearsay instead of my actual efforts and performance. This is one of the most unwelcoming work environments that I've ever encountered, and the lack of pure DEI efforts is on full display. I have spoken with Melissa and Scott about my concerns on numerous occasions since I was hired in 2021, but to no avail. As a matter of fact, circumstances worsened for me, hence my non-renewal for next school year. It has been extremely debilitating showing up to work each day because of all this. My efforts to advocate for change and improvement have been met with nothing but hostility, resistance, and dismissiveness, leaving me feeling isolated and marginalized within my own school community. As a parent, it is deeply concerning to witness firsthand the toxic dynamics at play within Willow. Our children look to us as role models, and it breaks my heart to see the values of respect and integrity being disregarded by those in positions of authority. It is unacceptable that any educator should be subjected to harassment and discrimination, especially for simply doing their job and advocating for what is right. So I implore you, members of the school board, to take decisive action to address these issues head on. We cannot continue to turn a blind eye to the systemic injustices that exist within this district. Our students deserve better. Our community deserves better. It is our duty to ensure that Willow provides a safe and supportive environment for all who enter its doors.
Is there anyone else who has come to address the board on any items that are not on tonight's agenda? Thank you. Dr. McAllister, are there any responses to questions or concerns raised by the audience at previous meetings?
There are none.
Okay, thank you. Do any board members have any reports from any committee meetings that you've attended?
Yes, the Educational Progress Committee met last week. We've been meeting several times regarding the ELA curriculum. We'll be voting tonight to approve the Imagine Learning curriculum. We would really like to thank the Churchill teachers and principals and all the staff who took the time to come to our meeting and give us all the information that we needed. They came in and talked to us and gave us a breakdown of pros and cons of the curriculum, and I think we've made a good choice. And so we'll be voting on that tonight.
Great, thank you. Superintendent's report. I'm sorry, are there any other board members that have any reports? Okay, superintendent's report.
No report.
We have several consent agenda items tonight. The first is to authorize the chief school business official to pay the usual and customary bills for April 2024. The second is the personnel report.
Yes, just one of the things that's always exciting for us is to be able to offer tenure to staff members who are completing their fourth year, or in the case of 2 staff members who have received excellent ratings for their first 3 years. So congratulations to Tiffany Bailey, Christopher Blankenship, Emma Dolan, Melinda DeBose, Jody Klein, John Lewis, Peyton White, Jennifer Perkins Ermschler, and Colleen Spain for having attained tenure.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we have approval of meeting dates and times for FY25. Any questions on those dates and times?
No.
All right, and we have approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented in items 7A, 7B, and 7C.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. We have action agenda items. We have the second payment of February 2024 bills and the first payment of March 2024 bills. Any questions on the bills? Is there a motion to approve?
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education authorize the second payment of March 2024 bills and the first payment of April 2024 bills in the amount not to exceed $2,343,047.28.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth? Sorry, Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. We have approval of food service prices for FY25.
Yes, one of the things that's required of the National Food Lunch Program is that your paid lunches cannot be subsidized by your free lunches. And so every so often, we need to adjust upward the price of our paid lunches. So per the recommendation of Dr. Trimberger, our business manager, breakfast next year, actually both breakfast and lunch will increase by 10 cents. The cost of breakfast will be $2.45 and lunch will be $3.35.
Any questions?
Just a question in regards to if a student at any time cannot afford their lunch, what is our process?
Well, families are able to apply for waivers. And so the prices I just quoted are for paid lunches, but we have families who are on waivers and do not pay for breakfast or lunch. Also, if a child is not able to afford a lunch
And that's what I meant.
that particular day, yes, we never deny food. They are able to get that, and a tab is run essentially.
Mhm.
And so students are not denied food due to not having money.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education approve a 10-cent increase for breakfast and lunch for fiscal year '25.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. We have revision of policy 7100, required health forms.
Yes, we talked about this at our last meeting. The basic change that is being requested is to move back to a first-day exemption for Willow School. So students who are entering kindergarten, so the health forms are required for kindergarten and 6th grade. So this would apply to kindergarten students, that they must have all health forms completed and submitted for the first day in order to attend. And so if students do not have those health forms on file, they will not be allowed to attend kindergarten beginning on August 21st. And that was done at the request of the nurse and the staff because of safety issues. We simply don't know the history, medical history of kids coming in at ages 5 and 6. And so we need to know any type of health situation that a student may have. Other students in our system, 6th grade especially, those students have been with us and we do have health records. So we're not going to be caught off guard like we might possibly be at Willow and have a safety risk. So the revised policy that you're approving this evening is for a first day exclusion at Willow.
Any questions on the policy? I'd just like to add for our incoming kindergarten families to please make those appointments now, so that you don't run into a problem not being able to get the forms filled out. Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Moved by the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the revision of policy 7100 as attached.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes,
All ayes.
motion carries. We have approval of a contract with Golden Apple Foundation.
Yes, so we've been working with Golden Apple on two different programs. One is called the Accelerator Program. And the Accelerator Program essentially takes people who have a bachelor's degree but not in the field of education, or individuals who are seniors in college and are pursuing a degree in education, and they become part of the Golden Apple Foundation. They receive mentorship, they receive a stipend, they receive tuition paid for, and thus are able to get licensed as a teacher within 15 months. That's the Accelerator Program. What you have here is called the Golden Apple Scholar Program. And Golden Apple Scholars are undergraduates. So they basically get in with the Golden Apple Foundation as undergraduates, and then they get partnered up with districts who are participating with Golden Apple. There's a fee that is involved that we pay to Golden Apple in order to have these staff members potentially matriculate to us down the road. We only pay that fee if they partner for us. If they are not able to find somebody, then we do not pay a fee. But quite frankly, in an era of shortages, what we have found is when we have had to contract out with third-party vendors, which we have done, the cost is much, much higher than what we would be paying through Golden Apple. So this is another one of these creative things that the state is funding to try to help address teacher shortages, specifically in certain areas. But that is what this contract before you is.
Any questions?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
Moved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the contract with the Golden Apple Foundation.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes,
All ayes.
motion carries. We have approval of a contract with Roslyn Financial Group, Inc. to collect unpaid school fees.
Yes, one of the things that I have spoken with F&P about is the challenge that our district and other districts, but our district in this case, faces with students who leave, graduate 8th grade, and still have outstanding fees. And I want to make clear that this is not in reference to families who have fee waivers. Obviously, if there's a fee waiver in place, fees are waived. This is in reference to families who accrue fees over their time here, potentially up to 9 years. So then we have a student who is 14 years old, graduating and moving into a different school district, most likely HF, but regardless, they leave, and there is no incentive or ability for us as a district to regain the costs and the fees that are owed to us. And at this time, speaking to Dr. Trimberger, we have nearly $500,000 in outstanding fees. And as a district that has a budget of $25 million, $500,000 is a significant percentage. And so rather than, we do make attempts. We have someone in the office, Ms. Harnish, who works with families trying to get payment. But in those cases where we're not able to get payment, the recommendation is to work with an agency to try to get some of that revenue collected back to the district.
Any questions?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education approve the contract with Roslyn Financial Group, Inc. to collect unpaid student fees.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes,
All ayes.
motion carries. We have approval of Imagine Learning ELA curriculum adoption for grades 3 through 5.
Yes, as Ms. Bethea talked about in her presentation on committees, we've met extensively working with Dr. Schnorr and the staff at Churchill to pilot 2 different ELA curriculum over the course of the year. And the staff, and again, several of them, three individuals showed up at our 6:30 board meeting the other day to talk about their experiences with the 2 different programs that we were looking at. And certainly based on the feedback we received, the staff and Dr. Schnorr feel very good and very positive about the benefits of Imagine Learning. So what we're looking at is a 6-year contract to partner with them. Next year, we will have contracts in place for the other 2 buildings, so that we will then be on 5-year cycles for all 3 of our buildings. So getting back, COVID kind of threw us out of our adoption cycle. So this will put us back on a 5-year cycle for all 3 buildings beginning next year.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a training component to this?
Yes, and that was one of the features that also made Imagine Learning more attractive, is that their training is much more robust.
Great, thank you.
As well as a lot more student and teacher engagement. That was a huge part of it. And again, we'd like to thank the Churchill staff for really dedicating their time to come in and talk to us about it and give us some great details about that.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Moved upon the recommendation of the Director of Curriculum and Instruction and the Educational Progress Committee that the Board of Education approve a 6-year adoption of ELA Imagine Learning materials and programs at Churchill School at a cost not to exceed $200,000.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes,
All ayes.
motion carries. We have employment.
Yes, 2 individuals for employment this evening: Tiana Hamilton, a special ed assistant at Churchill, and Melissa McConaughey, a supervisor at Willow, if I'm not mistaken. Melissa is a former student whose name I recognize. So, Tiana and Melissa.
Okay, any questions on employment?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
Moved upon the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education approve the employment of Tiana Hamilton and Melissa McConaughey effective April 1st, 2024, upon the terms recommended by the superintendent, condition only upon receipt of a satisfactory criminal background report and upon receipt of evidence of proper legal qualifications for the position to be filled.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes,
All ayes.
motion carries. We have discussion items. I believe we have none from the board. However, if there's anyone who has come to address the board on any items that were on tonight's agenda, please feel free to step up to the microphone, introduce yourself, and there is a 3-minute limit. Okay. Is there any written communication to the board, Mr. Secretary?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes. And this Hoosier wishes the Boilermakers a victory tonight, as hard as it is for me to say that. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.